Welcome to one of the many circle sessions hosted by Wonder Girls. Wonder Girls is a nationwide classrooms movement. We bring relatable female role models into classroom settings through our circle sessions. As you will see, the crux of these sessions is its dialogic nature. We're currently working with classrooms across 7 Indian cities and continuing to grow. Our aim is for every adolescent in India to have access to relatable female role models. I welcome you once again and hope you enjoy learning from our role models' life journey and career path.
Great, we can begin.
Yeah, girls, you can raise your hands. Again, you know the drill. You can raise your hands when you want to ask a question, or you can put your question in the chat box so then Swagata can see your question. If anyone has a question right now, can you please raise your hand? Or okay, Tanvi has a question.
Okay, fine, go on.
Tanvi, can you come up here?
Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Am I audible?
Yes, Tanvi.
Okay. So hi Dee. So my question is that basically how did you get to know that you wanted to go in this field? I mean, what were the things you find in yourself, or what were your interests basically in initially, which led you to pursue this field and come actually basically enter there?
Okay. So I came into journalism by accident. I had not, it wasn't like a childhood dream of mine. I wasn't clear as to what I wanted to be for a long time. So I actually graduated in Bachelor's in Mass Media, which is a course by Mumbai University, because I am born and raised in Bombay. So there I did a course and we had to specialize in journalism or advertising in our final year. I chose journalism because I liked writing and reading. And even after I graduated, I had no idea of what does, whether I have it in me, because the perception of us, even as students, was that journalism was very difficult to do because you had to go in the field. It was a very hectic kind of a job. And I didn't know if I just knew that I liked writing. So my first job right after graduation was actually writing for a website. And there, once I did that for 1.5 years, I got a call to work for the week, and I still did not know whether this is something that I'd like to do. But I started working, I realized that this is actually a very interesting field, and it has a lot of scope for personal growth and development. And that's how my journey started. But it wasn't something that I knew I wanted to do.
Okay, I think we have some questions in the chat box. How did you become a journalist? Okay. I think you have pretty much answered that. One of them has asked that how was your experience? How has your experience been basically so far?
Experience in the sense it's a learning curve. So first, in whatever field that we choose, the first 2-3 years we are so new. We are like a trainee where we just learn the ropes of the field. And so my first 2-3 years just went in understanding what is the job, how do you do it, how to find contacts. So as a journalist, what you do is uh, there are different beats that are given, especially in a newspaper where somebody covers crime. You usually start with crime because that's what they give to interns also. And the job actually requires you to call various police stations and to ask them if they have registered a crime, something worthy. Most of the times they don't entertain you. So what journalism teaches you that people are not going to entertain you. You have to have a lot of determination and resilience to keep doing it. So once you call someone, they obviously are busy, so they will try to be rude to you, or they'll just cut the phone. And that's how you learn that oh, you have to keep going, and only talking on the phone doesn't help you to meet people. So the first rule of being a journalist is to talk to people, actually go to the field, see what is happening. So that would involve, making friends with police officers, with other people. And a lot of journalists initially get all the contacts of who to contact or how to, through other reporters. So it's very important to have a network of fellow journalists who you know. And that's how, the network widens. You first need the help of your seniors to help you write a story and how to go about it. And you also need a lot of peers to help you gain a contact, a wide network who will help you, who will inform you if there are new stories, and they will give you contacts. And you then have to rely on yourself and work hard to keep going to these places. And nobody uh, actually becomes, a successful journalist just by that. It takes a lot of hard work in the middle, where you keep talking to people and you have to meet the same person, maybe 4 5 times before the person starts trusting you and giving you news. So journalism is just about a lot of determination, resilience, patience. And you of course have a responsibility of being accurate. So you have to ensure that the names you write are correct, the facts that you write are correct. So these are basically the things. I don't know, this wasn't the question, but I thought I'll start by saying what it involves. So ultimately, what I want to say is that just the process of being a journalist teaches you to listen properly, pay attention, be more observant. And so it teaches you a lot more than other fields, because um, it has a wider lens. It talks about journalism is about a lot of other people. So your eyes are always open. You learn to think critically. You learn to question authority. You learn to not be afraid of challenges. You learn to deal with difficult situations. You have to find a way to get around people who say, no, this is not allowed, I can't talk to you. You have to learn the skill of trying to convince them how to. So it involves a lot of people skill. So for me, the experience was to, I when I started out, did not find it comfortable to go up to people who I didn't know and ask them questions. Like, I was like a shy child who did not think that I would be comfortable talking to strangers. And now if you put me amongst people I don't know, it doesn't take me long to make friends. Because for being a journalist, it's just a part of, I mean, there are journalists who are introverts, but usually you need to be a little more social. At least you should know how to talk to people in order to be a journalist. So this experience, if you ask me, has been very, very, enriching for my own personal growth. To from thinking that I may never be able to do it, to now really enjoying it, and then talking to students like you who are interested in it. It is a long journey in that sense, from not being comfortable around people to now talking to more people. I can take other question.
Yes, yes, Sugata. Nikki has a question. Nikki, would you like to come off mute and ask?
Yes, Didi. Hi, Didi. My question is, what are the best quality of your writing style?
So I don't exactly know what that means, in the sense the quality of your writing style. Basically, journalists don't have freedom to write as they want. I mean, if you are in a newspaper, you have to follow the style sheet, which means they have some guidelines of how to begin, how to write. You don't have too much freedom that time when you're reporting to write. It later develops as you write your, I mean, if you write in a magazine or in a blog where there is more freedom involved in expressing your thoughts, then you get to be more expressive. But initially, it takes a long time to first get what the style sheet is, to first understand how to write for a newspaper. So it's not, I mean, you don't have too much scope to be a great writer in the beginning. Of course, you within the rules there is a lot you can do, but still it's a different form of writing. Journalism is not like writing fiction, for example.
All right. Let's take the next question. Tanvi, you have a question again? Or is it?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Can I ask?
Yes, yes, Tanvi, go ahead.
So I wanted to ask that journalism basically is a very broad field to say, because there are many things including inside, like you can be a writer inside journalism, you can be an informer, or you can be a reporter too. So I just wanted to know a bit more about what are the other scopes one can take, or what are the other fields one can go inside journalism only.
Okay, that's a very good question, Tanvi. So, journalism basically means, um, I mean, there are many. There is broadcast journalism where you are on a TV and you are giving news. In television journalism, again, there are news anchors whose job is to be in front of the TV and read out the news. And then there are TV reporters who are on the field collecting information, reporting. Between the anchor and the reporter on the field, there are a lot of people. There are cameramen, then there are line producers. Producers are basically people who are, telling the reporters of what to do, how to write it, what to, there is a lot of editing involved. There are a lot of different bites. So producers are the one who put it all together, create a whole, a small telecast, and the news anchor is the one who's reading out. So that is television journalism. In so right now we don't have print as much. I mean, the newspaper is what was known as the print journalism, and it was the mainstream, form of journalism as recognized. Most widely known as well as practiced was written form, where you are a reporter and you write the stories and it gets edited. Again, there is a reporter and there is a sub editor whose job is to sit in the desk while if I'm on the field, I'll send an email to the desk. There is some sub editor at the desk whose job is to edit, fine tune the copy. Sometimes they ask for more details so that the copy looks something which has complete information. Their job is also sometimes to fact check. If I've written a detail, they will go and check the spelling. They'll see if this place exactly is what I've described it as, and they'll add details. And their job is to, make the report look complete and and it's factually correct. Then there are someone who's called as a news editor whose job is to assign stories to reporters. They are more senior, they've already worked on the field or at the desk, and they are the ones who will assign stories, who will decide which page the story should be and how the newspaper looks like. And editorials will just have, people in the hierarchy. There is an editor in chief who is the head of the whole newspaper, who conducts a daily morning meeting where they'll decide what are the news stories of the day. They are the ones who approve a story, just the idea of it. They are the ones who will say, no, this doesn't work, or you can go and do this. So they are the one who are guiding the way the whole newspaper works. Nowadays there is more of websites and we read our newspapers from our phone. So these websites are also run in the same way as a newspaper. There will be someone who's heading it and there are reporters on the field. But as we know that all the budgets for newspapers and websites are shrinking, so what they are doing right now is aggregating news from other news stories, rewriting it a bit, and then there are a lot of websites who don't do actual reporting. So these are more or less the forms of journalism practiced in India. There's also audio, and there are podcasts, but they are not. I mean, radio journalism in India does not exist as much because FM channel stations in India are not allowed to give news. So it is restricted to now online video format or a written format. So that's how it is.
Okay, all right. Disha had a question. What problems did you face when you became a journalist?
I didn't face any problems to my family, at least when I decided to be a journalist. For me itself, I was just trying this field because I didn't know if I wanted this or if I will be able to do it. So the problems what I would say were basically just the self doubt where you are not sure of what you are doing and you're kind of unsure. So you will not know if you're doing right. So initial hiccups is just getting to know if this is right for you and if you want to do it. It is not the most technical field. So anyone who wants to be a journalist, I wouldn't say that you need a journalism degree to get into journalism, but you need to at least like talking to people. You should like, reading more like widely. You should have curiosity. So if you are a curious person and you know how to tell stories, then journalism is for you, because that is the basic, I think, the two basic qualities that make you a journalist. It may be online, it may be writing, it may be audio, it could be any form, but you should be curious about people. That I think is the basic.
Right.
So more
And I
than
also,
problems, I was just describing what makes a journalist.
hmm. So actually, a lot of them have want to become a journalist. Maybe a lot of them are very good at writing, but at the same time, maybe their families will not allow them to go into this field since of the stereotypical mindsets. Maybe so. Yeah, what do you suggest for that? How do they approach their parents for that? Like, कैसे बोले कि yeah, we want to do this, and why is it good for us?
I think a lot of people who have come from families who have opposed have initially been very skeptical because this field doesn't pay you as much as others, say engineers do. And what parents want is a child to have a fixed job and fixed timing, like a 9 to 5 job, like a bank job or a software engineering job. But what happens in journalism, there are no fixed hours. So you work and there are no fixed holidays. So initially there are no holidays for you. So they might complain, they might say, what is this, you're not even earning enough. But if you're doing it for passion, you just have to keep doing small things. And when you win awards or when your photo is there on in the newspaper, if they see you on television, there are very few families who can say that no, I don't want them to do it. After you reach a certain level, you get a certain kind of success, or when you are locally known as this person as a journalist, because journalists, even though they may not earn much, they have more influence. You know the local politicians, you know the local police station, you know locally you're known as the person who can get work done. So they might realize it's, oh, this person has some clout. So if your father or your mother is stuck somewhere, you are the one who can break the bureaucracy, say for a government work, because you know people. So a lot of work gets done because journalists know a lot of people and it's much smoother. So they will get convinced after you get some success. So I think you just have to stick to what you like say, keep doing internships, get some experience, and then once your byline is seen in a newspaper or your photo comes or you come on the TV, they will be convinced.
Sneha has a question for you. Sneha, would you like to go?
Hello, ma'am. My name is Neha.
Hi.
Actually, ma'am, I want to ask. There are so many journalists in cinema. Like, if they takes interview of celebrities who are promoting their pictures. So, how? What are the steps of becoming that type of a journalist?
I don't think you need any qualifications per se. If you are interested in the, if you follow a certain news website which does this kind of work, or say an Instagram handle, maybe you can approach them that I'm interested in doing it. It basically just needs you to be an intern for some days, some months. Then, if they like your work, then you slowly move up the ladder. Initially, they will give you the work that nobody wants to do. If it involves a lot of travel, it need has a lot of problems, and those are the kind of jobs that juniors get. And through doing those jobs, you prove that you are meant for it. So I don't think you need certain degrees. But if you want to be a good film journalist, then you need to learn about how to write criticism, which is like learning about cinema. So if you just don't want to do interviews of celebrities, but you want to do a better job of criticizing the film, then you need to learn about cinema, which is what I would advise you to do.
Okay, I'll take the next question. Ambika, would you like to come off mute and ask your question? Ambika. Okay, I'll ask a question. Like you said, ma'am, you learn to question authority, but currently the situation is very different in politics. Whoever questions the authority has to face a lot of criticism. Have you faced such criticism?
So yeah, I would agree to what you're saying, that it's quite difficult to do your job when journalism by itself means questioning authority, not being afraid. It's known as the fourth pillar of democracy because it's the job of journalists to keep checking if all the other pillars of democracy are working right. So it is the first duty of a journalist is to question, but this certain governments do not like criticism, so they would start by first not allowing you. I mean, right now what has happened is there's not a lot you can do. You can't, there are not a lot of press conferences where they are answering questions. There are a lot of schemes which are just announced, but you don't see the details of it, so you can't question. Other way of how it's become difficult is how newspapers, because they depend on their existence through government ads, and government, if it sees that the newspaper is questioning its authority, it starts taking away these ads. So it becomes difficult for the newspapers to exist. So they will start by not being so critical of the government because they want to exist. And that is the point where we are at, where it is not easy. I'm not saying it's impossible. You can still do your job, but it's becoming more and more difficult to do this job of questioning authority, like you said. And then, I mean, what do you do? You keep doing. I mean, you find ways, because there is Right to Information Act, which gives you the way to question, what, how has the government spent money in PM cares. You want to know where is this money going. You have all the right to question, but there are ways which the government finds ways to not answer the question, but your job is to say that we asked this question and the government resisted in in the direct way or in a indirect way, but you have to say what you see and not get bullied by anyone.
Sonam, you want to ask?
Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
I read in the article that most of the journalists get awards. So, do you get any award? And if yes, what kind of award you get?
So it's not that journalists always get awards, but I would say more than any other field, there are a lot of there's a lot of recognition within the community for reporters, because I think there is a recognition of what goes behind. I mean, there's a lot of public service that journalism is supposed to do, which is why the efforts are also recognized. So there are awards within, in a newspaper you also have an internal award where they will write the best story in sports. This year was, so maybe like annual awards where your bosses decides which was the best kind of story. Then there are other awards where, say, the Press Club of Mumbai has this award called as the Reading Awards, where they will recognize the best work in crime, the best work in sports, the best work in environment. So those are the awards. Then there are national awards where there's something like called as the Ramnath Goenka Award, which is by the Indian Express Group, which is the most prestigious award in India for journalists, which gives you a cash prize and recognition. So awards are not an end to itself. What they do is they encourage you to do more of the good work that you're doing. It helps you to get better jobs, maybe. Many of them have cash awards, but the idea is to encourage you to keep doing, because many times what other people or most people, like as a student also, what really discourages you is when your teacher does not notice your efforts and you're putting a lot of work but nobody is seeing it. So even for journalists, they put a lot of work and sometimes there's no recognition, and that leads to a lot of demotivation. So awards are a way to keep encouraging you to move ahead. And I have received awards, the Red Ink Award, which I told you about, the Mumbai Press Club Award. Then I I also won an award for writing about women. So there is this award called as Ladli Media Awards, which encourage journalists to write about gender issues more sensitively. So these are the awards that encourage, like a lot of journalists did not think about gender in a way where they are not in in any way trying to discriminate between boys and girls, writing about issues that women face. So these are the other awards that encourage you to, your make your reporting more sensitive.
Right, thank you for answering that. I'll move to the next question. Let me just see. Tanvi, do you want to give voice to this question? As this question, I think, would want to be asked by a lot of kids about the stream thing.
Okay, so I will just voice it out. So the question is that what is the best stream to take after 10th if I wanted to be a journalist? If I had decided already that I wanted to be a journalist, so what could be the best stream I could choose? And consecutively, there is a next question that what are the courses or what are the graduation streams I should do if I wanted to be a journalist after 12th?
Okay. So that's a good question. So if you know you want to be a journalist, then I think you can take any stream you want. What journalists do is you don't learn much in a journalism course. What you learn is how to write well. But like I said, the curiosity part where you are interested in things, nobody is stopping you. So even after 10th or 12th, whatever stream you do, you remain open minded, you keep writing, because one way to be a good journalist, even if you're not in print journalism, is to write well. Because even for television you need a script. For any form of journalism you need your written skills. So you can start by taking any stream. Mostly arts works, because in arts or liberal studies, what you do is you or humanities, you learn a lot about people about different courses, which allow you enough time also to develop your writing or your reading or your independent bent of mind. I personally have done, after 10th I did science for 2 years. After doing science, I then did BMM, like I said, which is a mass media course here in Mumbai. So there are many of my friends who did a specialization after this, which is like a 1 year diploma. Um, the Asian School of Journalism in Chennai provides, which is the most well-known institute that provides this postgraduate diploma. Many of journalism courses are postgraduate diplomas, so you can study in any stream. Arts works well because, like I said, it improves your thinking, critical skills, improves your writing, gives you time to explore. I think I would advise you to do everything, like go join arts and drama, volunteer, write your own blog, do different kinds of things, and then maybe after graduation do a postgraduate course. Or you can directly after graduation start interning and work in a newspaper or a channel. So though courses help, I would suggest you do not spend money in expensive courses because they don't add much. It's not a very, very technical field. It's something that you can learn after you join a organization. And most organizations would want you to write or want you to learn their own way of doing things. So you may or may not have a journalism course to be a journalist. So all you need to do is to be this well-rounded person who is interested in a lot of things, who can then pick up, say somebody gives you sports as a beat. You should not say, oh, I don't like sports, I never watch sports. You should know a bit about sports to just start off. You should not be someone who just likes one thing.
ठीक है. Pallavi has a question. Pallavi.
Hello, ma'am. I am Pallavi. So my question is, what publication do you read in your personal time?
I read a lot of newspapers. That's like a must, that you must read newspapers. You can, I read a lot of, I used to read a lot of fiction, where I used to read lot of fiction about lawyers, about crime, about uh, and then now, since the last few years, all I'm reading is non-fiction books, more about India, democracy. I write about health, so about, say science. So it depends. I mean, not everybody, like many of my colleagues do not read, and that's also okay. They consume more in the video form. So it differs from person to person, your own interest. You may not want to read what you work on. You may want to read something totally different. So it's actually very, very different.
So, can you just asking this from the kids side only? Like since they are in 9th and 10th right now, is there anything that you would recommend them to read?
साइकिल पर नहीं आती, साइकिल पर नहीं आती, मैं भी साइकिल पे चले जाऊंगी फिर.
Who was this? Sorry.
What question? What did you ask?
Yeah. So what I'm asking is that since they're in 9th and 10th right now, is there anything that they can read right now to probably build their understanding? What would you recommend? Like which newspaper would you actually recommend them to read?
So, like from my parents' generation, they used to read the Times of India because the language at that time in Times of India was very, beautiful and but right now I think every newspaper, the language itself is simple, which is how it should be. You don't need to use big words to be a better writer. You need to be most clear in your communication. So you can read any English newspaper that you like if you want to write in English, but I am suggesting that you read one in your mother tongue so that you are more familiar with the way even Hindi flows. You can be a bilingual journalist. I think it's a very big asset to be. You have to speak your mother tongue. You can be, it's very good if you can read and write in Hindi or any other language and know English. So I would suggest one regional language, whichever is your mother tongue, one English, and one magazine. So a magazine could be, say, India Today. It could be something in sports also, whatever is your interest. India Today, Week, these are different. Outlook, I don't think is. Caravan is like a thicker magazine, which is once a month, I think. It has longer stories. So if you're interested, you can start by seeing in your school library first, or going to a public library and going through various magazines and whatever holds your interest. Say a National Geographic. So National Geographic is an international magazine which has a lot of travel, has a lot of photos, and if you're interested in that kind of a thing, so it is a good idea to go in a library, go through stuff. You may not have to spend so much money in subscribing it to, but maybe a newspaper is something you can afford every day, and read different kinds of newspaper, because each newspaper has a certain bias and they see the country from one lens. You need to change it to just know what are the other people saying.
Right. Thank you for answering that. I think we had a question about what information and awareness do we need. What kind of information and awareness is needed to make all things in a flow? That's the question.
uh I think what you mean is to how to collect information and how to write it or how to present it in a way that works. And that is a skill that you will pick up when you become or you work as a journalist. But the first thing is to start reading more newspapers and if you're interested in TVs, to watch news channels. Then you pick up the style of how news flows. How is a news story written? How is a report written? And it is a subconscious thing that you pick up when you read things. So you will learn it by reading and by working. It's not something, and it's not that tough also. I would like to say that it's journalism is not as tough, because like I said, it's not a very technical thing. Anybody who is interested in it can probably do it.
We have a question from Sneha. Ma'am, have you ever been pressurized by any authority to write a particular news on favor of something wrong?
No, actually, I'm fortunate enough to not. At most, if you go in good organizations, reputed organizations, you will not be forced to do anything, or at least you don't work in organizations where there's a direct pressure to work in a certain way, and nobody calls you up for that. Come, just a minute. Wait. So nobody will force you to write a certain story. What happens is, many stories, there's a conflict of interest in the sense that your newspaper gets certain ads from some company, and if you're done like an investigation into their work and you find out that they've not been ethical, so there is a chance that your story may not get published. And that has happened to me when I was doing a story about pharmaceutical companies, which is about the manufacturers of medicine. And they have a practice where they send these medical representatives to doctors, and doctors by their oath are not supposed to accept any gifts from these people. They are supposed to only take maybe the sample medicines that these people give, but they're not supposed to accept any gifts. But what doctors have been doing and what these companies are doing, they are bribing doctors in different ways, either by offering them cash. More than cash, what they do is they give them gifts. They might give them, say, a mobile phone. They might give them a holiday package. They might uh, have conferences in countries like, say, Singapore, and invite these doctors. So these are the other forms of bribe, which is common among, doctors accept these things and these companies offer them. So I was doing a story about this. It's not something that was investigative per se. It was based on a report by another company, a committee. But then my magazine said that we can't publish it because a lot of our advertisements come from pharmaceutical companies. So they sat on it. So which means they just took the story and then refused to publish it for a long time. This is more common in political beat also, where you're doing a story and your editor gets calls from these powerful people, and they try to tell them that you can't write on this particular subject, and sometimes you win and sometimes you don't. So it happens.
So I'll take one question that was in the that one of the kids had asked in the form that we rolled out. Who was your inspiration and role model? If you had any, like if you have any right now, or if you had any when you wanted to become a journalist.
I did not actually have a role model per se, but there are a lot of people who I have worked with who also inspire me, because they have remained, really very sincere in the work that they do. Many of my peers who I've worked with have been someone who have stood up against, like I said, there's a lot of pressure to sometimes not say the truth. but these people have persisted and gone ahead, and there is sometimes risk to, you know, what you're doing. So for me, I worked with Niranjan Takle, who was a senior political reporter in the Week. And it was very inspiring because he had such a wide network of people in Maharashtra, and he knew someone from each and every district. So it was easier for him to get news. Then he did a story which was again not accepted by the magazine because it was very politically sensitive to write about the government, and he still stood by it. Then he faced a case. So there is a bigger risk nowadays, is that somebody you write about will file a case against you saying that you have damaged my reputation. So he had that case against him, he had to fight it, he had to lose his job. So I mean, if you take on bigger people, more powerful people, there's a lot of risk involved. And people who then, even despite all these risks, continue to do their job and find happiness in this field, those are the people that I admire.
All right. Next question, I think. So yeah, someone has asked that, ma'am, we a lot of difficulties were faced by women in the previous times when they wanted to become a journalist. So do we face such difficulties nowadays also? Is there any sort of discrimination against women when they are trying to be a journalist?
Well, actually, there are more women than men in any newsroom. It's maybe 70% women and 30% men. And that is because maybe one of the reason is this field doesn't earn that much, doesn't give you that much money and returns. So men are less likely to take it up. That's what we see. That but what I would say is there is a slight gender discrimination, in the sense, despite having 70% women in an organization, the bosses are most likely to be men. And there is a subtle discrimination, because if there is a beat like sports, which is seen to be a male dominated, so it is like it's no brainer to give it to a man. But or say politics and crime also, but women have been equally doing a very good job. There are women who are photojournalists, who are going, putting their lives at risk, going where nobody goes and clicking the beautiful photos. And there are good, you know, women sports journalists and women who write about crime. So there's actually nothing that a man can do and a woman cannot do. But yes, there is sort of a bias when it comes to giving these kind of reporting assignments, where it is very obvious to give it to a man and not to a woman. But it's more democratic in the sense that you can keep pestering someone to give you what you want, and you will get it. So whoever is more persistent gets the job. In some ways, I will still say that there are challenges for a woman, because if I am a man and so reporters have to rely on a lot of informers. These could be people, you know, if you're going in a government office, there are men who work there who will leak news to you. That's how you get to know before everyone else, because somebody's leaking to you it to you. So for men, it is easy to befriend another man, because you know they will have a bonding. Women will have a little difficulty, because you might have to smoke with them, you may have to go and sit with them. Women are, I mean, rightly so, are not very comfortable in befriending other men in that way. So they may not find it very easy. But I don't think that is a, I mean, it's a big challenge. It's a different kind of, you know, working atmosphere. Then if you go in a village, there are safety issues, because when you're traveling alone, you can't just, you know, show up in any village. You can't ride the public transport very easily, because we know we're living in India. So there are these challenges. But I mean, nothing can stop you from doing anything. I mean, you can take risks, you can be careful, you have to be smart about these risks. But it is difficult sometimes. I would not say it isn't.
Sonam, you have a question?
And you told us that you didn't have much self-confidence. So how you gain your self-confidence?
Uh, I think what happens is you're not sure what you are good at, and so you would struggle with your. I mean, one thought that stops us from raising our hands in a classroom is also the thing that I don't know if what I'm doing is right, and I don't want to look like a fool. So there is a fear of failure that most of us have. So self confidence comes when you do small steps. Those also, like I said, like going up to a stranger and talking, that also requires some courage. But you take so small steps, and eventually when you see the steps going well, then you will take a bigger step, and slowly you will say that this is not something I can't do. And you only build your self confidence by doing more of what you're afraid of. So I think that is it. You keep doing it and you see some success, and it just encourages you to give yourself another chance and another chance and another chance.
Tanvi had a question in the chat box. As we all know that talking about gender equality is a very stereotypical issue in our society. So do you find any difficulties or any sort of criticism while writing about women rights and feminist or gender sensitization issues?
There is no problem in writing about any of these things. I think right now it's very well known, it's very acceptable to write about it. But to write is one thing, to actually experience it is another. So you would see that it's easier to write about what should be, what shouldn't be. What each and every girl, woman goes through is a different reality. So writing is the easiest thing that you can do. Is I mean, the reality doesn't change much. I mean, it needs like a revolution in every household for every woman. I mean, I would say, despite everything, all of you are going through your own struggle. And it keeps repeating. I mean, you keep have to fight one barrier, then another, then another. So that, unfortunately, is the case for everyone.
Right. Thank you so much for answering that. Hmm. I don't see any new questions in the chat box. Just let me ask from the form itself. Um, Okay, Sneha has asked, are you enjoying being a journalist and how can we find our interests?
I'm liking my work. Right now, I'm an independent journalist, which means that I'm not working with any publication. I can send ideas to different editors, and if they like the idea, they will commission it and they'll pay me. So it's a different form of working. It gives me more freedom to travel, to make my own schedule. I'm my own boss. I decide to only work on things that interest me. So I am enjoying it. And how you can find your interest by, each one of us is attracted to something, maybe design or clothes, different kinds of things that we are interested in. We know what we like. What so you can ask yourself, what do you want to do, which nobody has to force you to do. I mean, nobody has to force you to dance, for example. Nobody has to force you to draw. It's something that you like, that you are anyways going to do, even if it's not an exam, if nobody's forcing you to do, nobody told you to do, but something you're interested to do for your own self. That is what you're interested in. So if you find a profession around that job, you'll be very happy. You don't have to do it, but it's one of the ways to finding what interests you. If you like playing games, nobody will have to force you to do it, and there is still a career in, as a gamer, so nothing is off limits.
Sneha, do you want to put voice to that? What you want to ask, because your question is only linked.
Yes, ma'am, I want to ask. No one stops me. The thing that I want to do, this stops me for that. They say this is not good. Don't go in acting.
So, Gata, were you saying something? You were not audible.
I said, what is she interested to do, but somebody stopping her.
Sneha, can you answer that?
What am I interested in?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm interested in acting, but our parents stops us going at that career.
So don't tell them that you want to be an actor, but you can start acting in small plays, and you don't say that this is my career. You can say that I want to do this as a hobby, and then do it with other things that you do. Like you have to study for exams. Do that also. Do study acting also. I mean, if you tell your parents, they are like all other parents cared for us, so that's the reason they stop us. They don't want us to suffer, so their intention is all right, but that doesn't mean that you have to sacrifice what you like. So you can find a way to make it more acceptable for them.
Pallavi has a question. What qualities make a good journalist?
I think I've answered it before.
Yeah.
You have to
But
be very, very curious about people, about things. How does this work? Why doesn't that work? How? And you have to ask people. You have to be persistent. You have to love to tell stories. If you're interested, you will ask. Once you know, you will want more, and you just keep going that way. And persistence is, again, like I said, it's a big quality.
ठीक है. Girls, I'll take some last questions, giving you the next 1 minute if you want to ask anything else, and then we can synthesize. If anyone wants to come off mute, you can raise your hand or you can ask in the chat box. Let's take the next 1 minute to do this. So, Gata, what have you studied? Also, there's a question in the what have you studied like after your 12th?
So like I said, I studied science till 12th, and then I did a bachelor's in mass media. I started working right after graduation, and while I was working, I did my post graduation in English literature. So I would suggest that you do like a BA in a arts field, more likely, because you can learn about social science, political science, psychology. These are the subjects that will teach you a lot about how people are, how people live. It gives you a more wider lens to look at the world. That's it.
Right. I don't think we have any more questions. Would you like to like say something to the kids, like whatever they want to pursue? As in, they are very confused right now. That's a question from my side. It's like many of them are in 10th grade. So they are very confused as to what stream to choose in 11th, because obviously no one has it all figured out. कि अभी से पता नहीं है कि आगे क्या बनना है after 12th. So do you have any tips for them to like choose their stream in 11th?
Like I said, I was confused even when I started working as a journalist. I was very keen to make a difference, and I wanted to work as a social worker. So while I was doing one thing, I thought this is not for me and I want to do something else, and these questions don't stop. So it's good to be confused. That means you don't have any fixed answer ready, and some people know it as a child what they want to grow up to be. Some people don't, and it's completely okay to do one thing, then realize it's not for you, change it, join something else. I mean, you have to be sincere and hardworking in whatever you choose, but you don't have to make up your mind right now. It's okay. Even after your graduation, you can change your mind. There are engineers who have become doctors. There are doctors who have become IAS. There are IAS officers who have stopped and become authors. So there is no fixed destination of profession. Even now, if in another 5 years I don't find it interesting, I will change, and that's completely okay. You don't have to have a map ready.
I think that's beautiful. That's something even I have followed. Like, I wasn't teaching, I might think of switching fields after this. So, yeah, I think it's okay to switch fields. There's no right or wrong path. Uh, would love if one of you girls can synthesize whatever you learned today. जैसे हमने last time भी किया था, like just tell me whatever you learned or anything you have to say to ma'am before we close out. You can raise your hand to do this. Yes, Neha, go ahead.
I learned that it's okay to don't have any plan in our mind about our career, and if you want to be a journalist, you have to be curious, or you have to love reading and writing things.
Right. Thank you so much, Sneha, for sharing. Anyone from grade 9 also like to share? Sonam, do you want to share? Sonam, are you here?
Yes, चैट बॉक्स में मैंने ऐसे लिख दिया था कि मैसेज बोल दीजिए। मैम थैंक यू सो मच हमारे क्वेश्चंस के आंसर देने के लिए इतने अच्छे से, और बहुत कुछ सीखा कि अपना सेल्फ कॉन्फिडेंस कैसे बढ़ाएं, और किसी भी स्ट्रेंजर से हम बात करेंगे तो हमारा कुछ नहीं जाएगा, बस सेल्फ कॉन्फिडेंस बढ़ जाएगा। तो बहुत सारा कुछ सीखा। थैंक यू सो मच।
Thank you, guys. Thank you for inviting me, Garima. This was a very learning for me also to talk about these things and reflect. So I'm very, very happy that I spoke.
Thank you so much for coming actually, yes, and for being so patient and for answering all of our questions, all of the kids' questions. Any closing thoughts you have for them? Any like word of advice or anything?
I think it's great that you are doing this, and they are they are knowing about different professions. And like I said, you don't have to have answers. You please go ahead and do whatever you want. And if you don't like it, change your mind, change your fields. It's okay. Your parents may not always agree with what you want to do. You can't really fight them. You can persist in your dreams without taking a very harsh view of what they are doing. You have to just be consistent with what you're saying, be patient, be sincere, and keep pursuing it. If you like acting, you can do it, but don't shock them as saying that I want to be an actor. Continue to work in plays, and you continue your dreaming. It's okay. So all the best.
Thank you so much again, Swagata, and thank you so much, Manasi, for organizing this. Yeah, I think
Thank
we
you,
can
Garima. Thank you, Swagata. This was wonderful.
Bye, guys.
I hope you enjoyed the session.